Picture this, a champion-cutting horse, a true partner, enjoying a well-deserved retirement. That's what Gary thought he was giving his beloved horse, Slim. After years of winning competitions and being his right-hand man on the ranch, Gary found a seemingly perfect home for Slim's golden years. He trusted the new owner, paid for Slim's care, and believed his friend was living a life of peace and plenty. But sometimes trust is tragically misplaced. Years went by. One day, a friend of Gary's was passing through the area where Slim was supposed to be living. He glanced over at a neglected pasture and saw a horse that looked disturbingly familiar, but it was a mere shadow of its former self. This horse was skeletal, its coat was matted, and its spirit seemed broken. He took a picture and sent it to Gary, asking, "Is this Slim?" Gary's heart sank. It couldn't be. Not his champion, not his friend. He drove there immediately, his mind racing with disbelief and dread. As he pulled up to the desolate farm, the horrifying truth hit him like a physical blow. There, in a barren field, stood Slim. He was so thin you could count every rib. His head hung low, and the vibrant spark in his eyes was gone. Gary called his name. "Slim?" The horse's head lifted, and a flicker of recognition crossed his face. He took a weak step forward. Gary rushed to him, his tough cowboy exterior crumbling as tears streamed down his face. How could this have happened? The owner was nowhere to be found. The place was a picture of neglect. There was no proper food, no clean water, just dirt and despair. Gary didn't hesitate. He loaded Slim into his trailer, his hands gentle, his voice a soothing murmur of apologies and promises. The journey home was quiet, filled with a heavy mix of anger, guilt, and a fierce determination to make things right. He couldn't understand how someone could do this, how they could take his money and leave this magnificent animal to waste away. Back at the ranch, the real work began. The vet's assessment was grim. Slim was severely malnourished, battling infections, and his teeth were in terrible shape, making it painful to eat. The road to recovery would be long and difficult. Gary set up a special stall for Slim, a safe haven where he could begin to heal. He started with small, frequent meals of a specialized diet, carefully formulated to reintroduce nutrients without overwhelming his fragile system. Every day Gary was there. He'd groom Slim's coat, gently working through the mats, speaking to him in that calm, familiar tone. He'd sit with him for hours, just being present, letting him know he was safe, that he was loved. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, changes began to happen. A little more weight, a little more strength. The light started to return to Slim's eyes. He began to nicker a soft greeting when Gary approached, a sound that was music to Gary's ears. Weeks turned into months. The transformation was nothing short of miraculous. Slim's coat grew back thick and shiny. His muscles started to regain their definition. He wasn't just surviving, he was starting to thrive. He'd follow Gary around the paddock like a shadow, resting his head on his shoulder. A simple gesture of trust and affection that meant the world. The bond they had shared in the competition arena was being reforged, stronger and more profound than ever before. One sunny afternoon, Gary watched as Slim trotted across the pasture, his tail held high, a picture of health and vitality. It was a sight he once feared he'd never see again. He had his friend back. But the story doesn't end there. Gary knew he had to do something to prevent this from happening to other horses. He started sharing Slim's story, raising awareness about the importance of thoroughly vetting retirement homes and conducting regular follow-up visits. He couldn't change what had happened to Slim, the years of neglect and suffering, but he could turn that tragedy into a powerful lesson. He began working with local rescue organizations, using his experience to help others. He advocated for stricter laws against animal neglect and created a network for owners to check on their retired animals. Slim's story became a beacon of hope and a catalyst for change. The rancher who once felt overwhelming guilt now felt a sense of purpose. He had failed his horse once, but he would spend the rest of his life making sure no other animal in his reach suffered the same fate. Slim, the champion who was left to starve, became a symbol not of cruelty, but of resilience. He was a survivor who, with the unwavering love of his best friend, got a second chance at the happy retirement he had always deserved. Their story is a powerful reminder to all of us. It's about the deep connection between humans and animals. It's about responsibility, forgiveness, and the incredible power of love to heal the deepest wounds. Slim got his happy ending, grazing peacefully in the sun-drenched pastures of his true home, right by Gary's side. Thank you for watching. If you were moved by this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that touches the heart.